Okay, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure, dear Janos, Ambassador IJ, and fellow panelist Shin, and colleagues. Oleg, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this event. I guess it's going to be an intimate conversation more than anything else, and in a way, maybe the recent COP and what the Secretary General said at the COP actually provides the perfect backdrop to our conversation today, because he said, and I quote, "We are in the fight of our lives and we are losing. Greenhouse gas emissions keep growing, global temperatures keep rising, and our planet is fast approaching tipping points that will make climate chaos irreversible." End quote. I think that basically is the backdrop for our conversation today. Even before that, we saw a whole slew of UN reports as heading into COP that painted a pretty grim picture of where the world stands today, right? WMO confirmed that atmospheric levels of carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide all reached new record highs in 2021. UNEP's emission gap report made clear that the window for 1.5 degrees is closing fast. The UNFCCC, in their report, showed that the current national climate commitments in the NDCs are basically falling pitifully short of what is needed to keep temperature increase to 1.5 degrees. And our own assessment at UNESCAP actually reconfirmed that. Just looking at the NDCs from our region, it looks like GHG emissions are set to rise by about 15 or 16% by 2030, rather than heading in the opposite direction. And all of this, of course, we know the consequences, and we're already seeing them. This human-induced climate change is causing widespread disruption and affecting the lives of millions of people, billions of people. In a way, the floods in Pakistan this year that have inundated a third of the that have inundated about a third of the country and impacted more than 30 million people have given us a glimpse into our potential future climate reality. And countries are obviously going to face increased, overlapping, cascading shocks and crises. And once more, the signs are that climate change and its impacts are somehow going to be magnified in certain parts of our region of Asia Pacific. In other words, going beyond global averages when it comes to temperature anomalies, when it comes to the loss of high mountain glaciers, like in the Hindu Kush, when it comes to heat content and sea level rise, as it affects the Pacific and Indian Oceans. So in a way, we have reached a stage where the hope of keeping temperature increase to 1.5 degrees, and indeed the net zero aspirations of countries, is going to likely require some sort of negative emissions or carbon dioxide removal. Now, how can our region move towards this? Well, a lot of countries are banking to some degree on nature-based solutions as a potential. We've seen movement in this direction: Cambodia, Indonesia, here in Thailand, looking at land use and forestry. But frankly, attaining the targets of nature-based solutions is going to depend also on quite a big step change in terms of technical feasibility, in terms of ambition, in terms of economic feasibility, and of turning what is currently actually a high emission sector into a carbon sink. At the same time, there's growing interest in technology-based solutions for carbon dioxide removal, including direct air capture. But of course, again, these are at the very, very beginning, and what they offer are frankly a drop in the ocean. We saw similar conversations on big techno fixes in the carbon capture and storage, which has taken decades. It's another one of those technologies that has long been part of our climate discussions, but has consistently fallen short of what was hoped. So this is, in a way, Janos, the backdrop, right? The context for our conversation today on carbon dioxide removal, and indeed on solar radiation modification, and whether it has a role in managing this risk of the temperature overshoot. To be honest with you, I mean, to some of us, even talking about this, it feels like defeat, right? It feels like defeat because of where we've come from, right? The decades of fighting a quite a hard battle against the changing climate. But I guess the harsh reality is that the trend of global heating, the trend in GHG emissions, obliges us to explore all the possible means to avoid, frankly, a catastrophic future, right? And so we look forward in that context to hearing the conversation, to sharing in the conversation today, and at the end of the day, you know, to trying to help as our region navigates its options for securing essentially a livable future. So that would be, I think, for us, or for me and for UNESCAP, the backdrop for this conversation today.